Hey, what's up, guys? Trevor here again, coming at you from Wichita. Oh boy, traffic's looking good. I wanted to talk to you guys today about a little company called Microstrategy. Alright, this is Michael Saylor's company. Used to be a BI, a business intelligence company, and since 2020, they have pivoted, right? And now they are the #1 corporate owner of Bitcoin in the world, with around 650,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, so that's quite a few Bitcoin at 2025 prices, and I think it's valued around 75 billion-ish right now in Bitcoin holdings. And if you look at treasury holdings as a whole by publicly traded companies, they're in the top 5 of overall treasuries. So like you've got companies like Google and Apple and Microsoft up there with, like, you know, give or take $100 billion in cash, right? I want to say Tesla has around like 35 billion in cash, somewhere around there. But MicroStrategy has $75 billion strictly in Bitcoin. So, yeah, definitely a lot more upside. Potentially more downside as well, you know, in the Bitcoin holdings. But, yeah, they've got around $75 billion in USD, which equates to around 650,000 Bitcoin. And I think they have around $10-ish billion in debt. So their holdings of Bitcoin dwarf their holdings, or dwarf their debt, right? So, I mean, it's like less than like 20%, 15% debt. And I think for them to be basically margin called, you can call it, I think Bitcoin would have to go down to something like $10,000 a coin or something. So, I mean, that's hard to imagine nowadays, you know, with Bitcoin around 115K. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw this idea out to you guys. They're worth about $100-ish billion in the stock market right now. That's their market cap. And so their MNAV is pretty low, you know. 1.2, 1.3 is basically the market multiple they have on their Bitcoin holdings right now. So keep that in mind. The MNAV on the company has been historically generally higher than this. It's been lower before, but for the most part it's been higher. And let's say even if the MNAV didn't change at all, if Bitcoin went to $1 million, you know, MicroStrategy, you could essentially 8, 9, 10x the value of their Bitcoin, assuming they didn't acquire any more. So if they got $75 billion, what I'm getting at is if they have $75 billion in holdings right now, and let's just say you 10x that, where you have $750 billion US worth of Bitcoin. That's nutty. That is like absolutely insane. That would dwarf every other company in the entire world as far as like how much money they have and how much money they will have anytime soon. Like even in video, oh, you know what? Let's see what Tesla Full Self-Driving does, if it runs over the stick or not. It's going to. Okay, I had to intervene there because I didn't want to hit the stick. I would call that more like a limb, not like a very large stick. But yeah, no, $750 billion in cash. Cash and short-term investments, you essentially call it, right? So with that in mind, it's like, what can they do from there? We're only seeing, like, you know, what they've done so far, which is like issue debt to buy more Bitcoin. We've seen them create all of these perpetual preferred stocks where you can buy them, get a dividend, and then you know, go from there, and they buy more Bitcoin with that money they get from you. But like eventually they're going to give out loans against their Bitcoin, you know, and they're going to charge people. It's hard to imagine what all these super elitist, you know, billionaires have in mind for Bitcoin, but the amount of people that are on board with the Trump administration, endorsing crypto the way they have, all these billionaire Bitcoiners coming out of the woodworks. It's pretty wild to see what's gonna. Okay, I'm gonna put on the accelerator here. Basically, they're gonna turn into Bitcoin banks. Is what I'm getting at. Digital Bitcoin banks that don't require any brick and mortar operations and that don't have currencies that are constantly getting degraded. Like I read something earlier this week that said that the US dollar has lost 10% of its value just since January 1st of this year. Like, how wild is that? Like, it's very unfortunate that you have to keep an emergency fund in US dollars just in case, like, something happens to your house, something happens to your job, something happens, you know, like, let's say a black swan event happens to you. You need to keep a safety deposit somewhere of money that can cover expenses for a while, and so I have that, but I'm just getting like diluted every day by holding all this US dollars, you know. So it's a problem that everyone has, not just me, so I can kind of live with it, you know. But they really did do something pretty crazy to the financial industry. A lot of you can't call it anything other than like financial engineering, like literally engineering the financial system. Microstrategy went from $2 billion market cap back in 2020 to $100 billion market cap in 5 years, and all they did was use other people's money to buy Bitcoin. Take out debt, buy Bitcoin. Get other people's money from perpetual preferred shares, buy Bitcoin with it. So it's like, it's actually nuts. They don't have any operations really. They don't have to go build Tesla cars. They don't have to go create software. They don't have to create hardware. They don't have to provide any services. They just buy Bitcoin with people's money that they give them for basically for free for investing purposes, and then they 50x the value of the company. And it's like, when is it going to stop? Well, I think the only way it stops is if Bitcoin goes down a lot. And I really don't see a world where Bitcoin goes to like nothing, you know? So it's like, if you believe in Bitcoin, it's hard not to believe in these Bitcoin treasury companies, especially when their MNAV multiple is so freaking low. So it's like, MicroStrategy, MetaPlanet, even BitMine just seem like, oh man, they're just ripe for the picking right now. For all I know, MicroStrategy could be the most valuable company in the world one day, and I think it'll be a top 5. Like, if Bitcoin does well, MicroStrategy is just going to be a top 5 company by market cap, and there's no way to argue against it. So, thank you for watching my video today, guys. Go check out MicroStrategy if you haven't watched it yet, or if you haven't learned anything about it yet. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want some more content like this about growth stocks and investing in crypto. All right, thanks, guys.